What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. We got a great show planned for you guys this evening. We're going to be recapping the 49ers 2025-2026 schedule reveal and a couple other things. Before I toss it over to my guys, if you're watching on X, make sure you hit like and repost. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Hop in the chat. We want to hear you guys' thoughts on the schedule. Make sure you like and subscribe to both channels, 49ers Hive, Nothing But Niners. We appreciate the support. Now that I got that out of the way, Matt, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, Zach. It's scheduled release day. We got teased some other things, which we'll talk about that we didn't get so far. But by all accounts, it looks like a pretty good schedule for the 49ers.
Yeah. Thankfully. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited about today's show. I personally have not gone and actually looked at the schedule to break it down or anything like that. I knew the opponents. I put on the little video from the 49ers really quick, and I turned it off once they got to the Cardinals because I got angry. But I'm excited to go over it with you guys because it's going to kind of be like a real-time type of thing with me. So it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I haven't really had the chance. It came out right as I'm driving home from work. So I didn't really have the chance to really dive into it, aside from some tweets that I know have been shared in the group chat. So without further ado, I'm going to pull it up here. We're not going to make you watch the 5-minute video. This is the graphic per the 49ers that they put out. Preseason, I mean, if anybody cares, Denver at home, Raiders in Vegas, and then Chargers at home. Open the season off in Seattle, 1:00 game. And then also on the road, week 2 at New Orleans, 10:00 game. Finally come home, week 3, 1:25 for the Cardinals. Stay home for a week 4 game, 1:05 versus the Jags. And then I think that's a Thursday night game, week 5 on the road to LA. At least it's a short trip. Week 6 on the road to Tampa, take on the Bucs at 10 a.m. Week 7 is a Sunday night game at home versus the Falcons. Week 8 is a road game, 10 a.m. versus the Texans. Week 9, we have to go to dreaded MetLife Stadium and take on the Giants at 10 a.m. Week 10, come back home for a Sunday 1:00 game, 1:25 versus the Rams. Week 11, go on the road, take on the Cardinals, 1:00. Week 12 is a Monday night game versus the Panthers, which I think is interesting. Week 13, we go to Cleveland, which seems like every year we go to Cleveland, every other year. I don't know why they can't ever come here. 10 a.m. game, week 13 in Cleveland. The bye week is week 14. We'll talk about that more in a bit. And then week 15, a home game, 1:25 versus the Titans. Week 16, another Monday night game on the road versus the Colts. Week 17, Sunday night game versus the Bears at home. And then week 18 is TBD. They usually leave that last game, Saturday, Sunday. They don't really know where they put it. But starting and ending with the Seahawks. Mike, what's your initial takeaway here?
I mean, obviously the late bye week jumps out, and I'll wait till Matt gets back so we can discuss that, how much we care about it. But the other thing was 5 primetime games, and one of them being two of them being the Panthers and the Colts. When you step back and look at this schedule, right, you know that one of the games is going to be a Thursday night game, usually against a division opponent. So that's one prime time that everyone gets. When you step back and look at the 49ers schedule, I think it's actually impressive that we got 5 out of the maximum 6 primetime games because we don't have any top-tier opponents. There's no big names on this schedule, and we still somehow managed to pull out 5 primetime games. I think that speaks to the type of season that the NFL thinks the 49ers are going to have.
And you know what's funny, too, is if you would have told me, I was thinking 3 primetime games based off of how the Niners were last year. But I was thinking a divisional rival, and Texans, Bucks. Those were the 3 I thought. I also could have seen Chicago thrown in there because, you don't know, second-year quarterback, ton of talent on that team. Could they be good? but instead it's, the Rams, the Falcons. Sorry, I'm trying
Panthers,
to
Bears, Colts.
the Colts. Those are the 5. The Falcons, Bears, Colts. Definitely interesting divisional game. Who knows what that Saturday game is going to look like? Also, go ahead.
One of these is on a Saturday?
Well, sorry, that last week 18 game, it could be Saturday. You know how they kind of
yeah.
They wait until the schedule. The records look a little more finalized before they decide where they're going to put these games. And then I think there's one final Sunday night game, week 18. I could be wrong. Maybe it's week 17. But chat, if you know, let me know. Matt, what's your if you're ready, what's your top takeaway from this schedule?
I read somewhere that it's the easiest preseason, like in terms of strength of schedule from the previous season, the easiest strength of schedule since the 2015 Falcons. That doesn't always mean anything, but you got to understand the 49ers are coming off a historically bad injury season, like they tend to do in the even years. And the teams that they're facing, while some of them are going to be improved, particularly, I'm looking at Carolina probably going to be improved. Indianapolis is always dangerous. I think Chicago is going to be much improved. But a lot of the teams they're facing, did the Saints get better or worse this week with the retirement of Derek Carr? You know what I mean? Like that, right. It seems like they didn't have a real solid plan for quarterback, and they're going to be not great. Travis Hunter is great, but I think that the Jags are more than one player away. I mean, just a lot of the teams that you see, I don't know. It looks like it might break the 49ers way, but health is going to be the key.
For sure. 1,000%. We got a super chat from our guy, Sean. Sup, Beaches? We going to smash. Blessed. ZNM, Zach and Mike. Thank you. Matt was out of the picture when that super chat came in. Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate you. I saw Mike, credit to, I'm forgetting his name. I feel bad. But he was the one, Josh Dubow of the AP. 0 teams off of a bye. 0 teams coming off a bye. How happy does that make you?
Can you guys hear my sound effects?
Yes, sir.
Are they coming through or what? I mean, wait a second. The Niners have 0 team. Keep the round of applause going. Wait, what? Are you kidding me? This is unprecedented. Like, I saw this, and I'm sitting back like, wait.
Excuse me, bitch?
Like, there's no way the Niners have no teams off the bye. We usually get you can't say that word anymore. We usually get like destroyed by bye week in the schedule, or traveling back-to-back East Coast games, and the Niners all of a sudden became a stubborn team and said, no, we're going to go back home and then come back again. Like, this was pretty impressive, man. And add to that what Matt was saying, that this was already the weakest strength of schedule team. Now no team's coming off a bye week. And see, like, that's where we kind of got caught before, right? It's like we're losing games that we shouldn't have lost over the last couple of seasons because everyone we were facing seemed like they were coming off a bye week. Once weeks 4 and 5 came around, it's like everybody was well rested. You remember the schedule that there's a graphic that comes out where they show days of rest lost or gained, like the plus minus days thing. The Niners were always at the very end of that. Like, we were just getting killed for that. And I don't know what that looks like this year.
Oh, I can tell you. I can tell you right now.
Here we go. Let's get to it. I'm going to shut up. There you go. I like it. There you go. Let's go ahead and get to it, man.
From our guy
Haberman. Yeah.
Look at that number at the top right, Mike. Can you see it?
Oh, +9. Plus, guys. Wait, what?
Yeah, they were like -34 last year.
Yes.
And by the way, the thing below it, just as important, finished with 8 of 10 opponents coming off of road games.
That is
big. That's a big deal.
That is 100. Like, the NFL is setting this up now. Could this be like set up for a big heartbreak? I don't know if we're going to get into record predictions and all that stuff, but guys, I mean, the NFL is giving us a gift. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, you guys had 2 jobs: prepare this team, fill some of those holes, prepare this team through the draft and free agency. You skipped the free agency part. You got the draft. The NFL is gifting you the schedule part right now. Like, you guys can't you can't let this one go. You can't blow it now. Like, this is crazy. It's literally not going to get any easier than this. This is that Panthers schedule when they went 15-1. You guys remember that year?
Right. Super Bowl year.
Yes. This is the same type of schedule that the Panthers had. I don't know if they had that late bye week, but as far as travel time and all that stuff, this is absolutely incredible.
Wow. Our guy Joey, you guys got to see what he just presented in the chat. At 2025 NFL strength of schedule based on Vegas forecasted win totals. Look where the Niners are. Number 1 in the green. Easier than average per Sharp Football Analytics. That's wild,
Now,
man.
this is based off of what Vegas has all of these teams winning.
Correct.
This isn't based off of what they did last year. So we have the number 1 schedule based off of what they did last year, and we have the number 1 schedule based off of what Vegas sees as well. Like, the stars don't align much more than this. So I think this is incredible. Have you guys gone through the schedule yet to see if there's any games you guys want to attend? He included Matt.
I think the biggest one for me that kind of has my eye just from a player standpoint, I'm kind of interested in Tennessee just because I want to see what Cam Ward can do. And then Chicago, but that to me that one's too close to Christmas. I can't really go to that one. Beyond that, you're looking at like early game, like the first game, the home game of the season against the Cardinals is going to be that's going to be a hot game, dude. Like, so
yeah.
So maybe Jaguars, but honestly, when I look at the opponents this year, there's not a lot of compelling opponents, and I'll take it. Right?
That's exactly why we couldn't figure out why we got 5 primetime games.
Listen, that Monday night game against the Colts, I am almost sure that's going to get flexed out. Almost sure. Not because the Niners will be bad, but I think the Niners will be good. Spoiler alert for my record prediction, but I think the Colts are going to be bad. They have no idea what they're doing at quarterback.
None of these matchups that we have for primetime are like must-see football. I'm sorry, not a single one of them. Like, I could see a situation where the Falcons.
We say that now. I mean, there's a good chance. There's a good chance the Bears could be 10-4, 10-5, whenever, I don't know what the math is, whenever that game comes, and they could be vying for a wild card spot just like the 49ers are. There was a point last season where they were above 500. All the NFC North at one point last season, like mid-season, I'm not talking week 3, we're all above 500.
And through trades and the draft and whatnot, they fixed their biggest hole, which was that offensive line.
They got Luther Burden and the draft.
Yep.
It's possible. Yep. I'm not saying it's going to make for Niners Chiefs.
They signed Dahlman too, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
They signed Dahlman from the Falcons, so they did a lot of work. And I think that was their – yeah. So –
from the Falcons, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We got the other center from the Falcons, Hennessy. Yay.
Well – now, he was decent before he was injured, and he's 2 years removed, so let's see how he does off of that. I don't know, man. It does seem like we bargain basemented again, which is what they seem to do all the time, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And the last show we did, they picked up DJ, I'm forgetting, Humphreys. They picked up Humphreys and then another lineman from I think he was last on the Titans. I'm forgetting his name. But again, bargain bin shopping for offensive linemen when they could easily have invested picks in this draft.
Was it Andre Dillard?
Yes. Thank you.
Andre Dillard. Yeah. Yes. Again, you're talking about Matt said it, guys 2 years removed from injuries, right? Like that's what you're looking at, right? Like good when they were out there, but injuries 2 years ago that really, kind of devastating. Now we got to see what we're getting out of them. The Niners don't mind going after quality players, like quality film, and taking a chance on the injury, like just to see what that injury's hitting for now. So it's going to be boom or bust with these guys. But I think what the recipe is, we're just going to throw enough bodies at it, and somebody's going to pan out. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. Since the comment's up there right now, a Week 14 bye. I personally like buys in the middle of the season. Give me weeks 8 or 9. That's kind of my range right there. What do you guys feel about Week 14?
I'm kind of with you for the most part. That week 8 through 11 range is probably the best. But if you can't do that, I'd rather have it late than early.
Yeah.
So 14 isn't too bad when you consider there's 18 weeks. So it does give them a good month of the season left to, the worry is if you go too late, right? Maybe you get out of sorts or whatever else. But I do think it's enough time that they can be sharp going into a playoff run potentially.
My only concern is having 2 bye weeks that close together, because they're obviously going to be the number 1 seed, baby. Sorry, I had to. No,
I like it.
Yeah, it is a little later than I would prefer. Like Matt said, you prefer that kind of 8 to 11 week range. It is a longer season. Looking at the schedule here, you get to heal up before you take on Tennessee, Indianapolis, Chicago, Seattle. So the final 4 games, 2 of which mean almost nothing other than a win tally because they're not division or conference games. And then you get a conference game with the Bears and a divisional game with the Seahawks. That is a nice chance to be able to heal up before those and go into the playoffs, hopefully with a nice rhythm underneath your belt. I know it's clear the NFL is trying to make these games, the late games, unsittable. What's the word I'm thinking here? Where you can't kind of sit your starters,
Oh,
but
yeah, they want them to be. They want to have meaning.
Right. It's just why they're doing them, early and then late, because they don't want the teams to be able to bench their starters and get the rest going. So I do appreciate that. There is an opportunity for a team to be so good where they really just don't give a shit. Like the Chiefs last year, they didn't care. They rested all their starters. The Broncos put up like 50 points on them or something like that. And it didn't mean anything, but it is interesting. What are your thoughts on the Week 14 bye, Mike?
So when I first saw it, I was against it. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I like the ones in the middle of the season, but we have so many guys coming off of injuries, so many key players, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, like they didn't play. Like not for nothing. Like I'm not mad at these guys having to run 13 straight games and then getting a rest. I'm not mad at it, right? So like they have to get their game legs back under them. It's going to take a lot of these guys, right? That's going to be around the time Brandon Ayuk is looking to come back. Like that's great to me. Get these guys in here, let them get their football legs back under them, and then give them a rest after they've gained them. There's so many players that were just hurt, dinged up, and injured towards the end of the season. Let them come back and play. A lot of the big names, the people that we were concerned about, were sitting on the sideline. So no, enough of that. Like now, let's get them out here. Let's play some ball, and then I think this team operates the best with the pressure on them. Right. By the time you're going into your bye week, you have an idea of a range of 3 numbers of where you're going to finish in the NFC. That late, you kind of got a range of where you're going to be. You can kind of start looking at the rest of the schedule that the other teams ahead of you have, the teams behind you have, and you can't drop the soap. You can't mess up. And so I kind of like the team being in that position, man. We got the easy schedule, we got the easy opponents, we got the favorable matchups as far as the days of rest. We got the travel. It seems to be down. I don't know how that's possible, but the travel miles even felt lower than normal. It's all right there for the taking, man. This late bye week is going to give us fresh legs heading into the postseason, and that's really the half point of the season. So you figure you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 games after that week.
Yep.
Right, and then 3 games to get to the Super Bowl after that. I like it. That's your halfway point of the season right there. That's when you want it. So I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. It definitely by the way, if you guys see the side of my head, I got the Warriors game on right here, so don't mind me. Win or go home time. Anyway, I'm happy with the schedule. When the opponents came out, obviously we were like, damn, there's a lot of scrubs on here, like how how's this going to shape out? Are they going to give us like whatever tough teams we have? I feel like it's very favorable for the 49ers, aside from maybe a game or 2 here or there. There's really no stretch where, last year, Mike, we sat here, we were like weeks, 8 through 12, where it was like Green Bay, Buffalo, I don't know who else was in there. I forget, but it's like that's clearly the tough spot of the schedule. I don't really see that in this schedule. Is there a time period that you see where it's like, oh, that's going to be the tough?
Do you have
spot?
it to pull back up here?
Let me get it.
Sorry, I'm literally doing this with you guys, so
no,
I
you're
don't
good.
have it here in front of me. But looking for the tough spot in the schedule is always interesting. It's always fun. So let's see what we got here. Seahawks, Saints, Cardinals, Jaguars. It's probably it right here. This is probably it from September 28th to October 26th. Those 5 games right there.
Jaguars, Rams. Go ahead.
Yep. You got the Rams, you got the Buccaneers, you got the Falcons, and then you got the Texans. Those are going to be the teams that are the toughest on the schedule. You got the division opponent in there. I respect the Texans and what they do. The Buccaneers, if I'm not mistaken, won that division like 2 or 3 years in a row or some shit like that, right? So you gotta give them their props. And then I know Matt said he wasn't really worried about Jacksonville. I don't usually worry about Jacksonville either. I always have this fear of the unknown. I mean, fortunately, it'll be his 4th start at quarterback, so we'll get to see what's kind of cooking over there. Not cornerback. I apologize. The corner, right? They got Hunter, right? Isn't that who Jacksonville took? Travis Hunter. Yeah.
Travis Hunter.
So, I'm not really, but it's the more of the fear of the unknown. I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars had a pretty solid draft, so they're going to start getting their legs about themselves around that time as well. But the good news is that's a home game. So the red ones are home games, the gold ones are away, and then anything next to, if you see initials next to the week, that is the primetime games there. So I like it, but I think that's the toughest stretch there. One, because we're at home against the Falcons. And if that's I can't see what that says though. Is that what day of
Falcons?
The week is that? Yeah.
October 9th. That's a Monday. Sunday night. Apparently you can make everything else but the picture bigger.
But the picture bigger, right? I hate how X is formed right now. All right, it's all good. But yeah, so I think that would be the toughest stretch because I'm not lying to you guys. I'm not worried about the Bears. I'm not worried about the Colts. Although I will say we always lose to the Colts. The Colts are very good. The Colts are like the Chiefs with the 49ers. Those are 2 teams that we just don't beat. I don't know why. It doesn't matter who they have. It can be complete bums. We could have Jim Harbaugh. We can have Kyle Shanahan. It doesn't matter. We don't beat the Colts for some reason. So maybe I'm looking in the wrong area. What are you guys' thoughts? Where's the tough stretch for you guys? By the way, my birthday is November 23rd. We got the Panthers on the 24th. My cousin's a Panthers fan. Shout out to Duck. We will be watching that one together somewhere. I'm not saying we're going to the game, but we will be watching that one together. I'm going to force him to do it.
Right. By the way, yeah, the Colts, going back to that Carson Wentz storm game the atmospheric river that we had here in the Bay Area, Jimmy chucking ducks, getting picked. It was a really shitty game. Anyway, tough stretch here. I'm going to say weeks 10 through 13. Now, hear me out. The Rams can go one or the other. Could be a difficult game. It's at home at least, but it's still a divisional game. Cardinals always give this team fits. They go on the road, take on the Cardinals on the road. Then you come back home for a possibly much improved Panthers team. Bryce Young really started to put it together last year. Year 2 of Dave Canales. You get Tet McMillan and a few other weapons there. And then you go to Cleveland.
Their free agency, they also got what's his name over there? What's the receiver they got in free agency? It's another tall receiver. They started building the team like they did when it was Cam. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I'll wait for you. You want me to wait for you to find it?
I'm looking it up. You can go
Okay.
ahead.
And then after that, you go to Cleveland, where they haven't really been able to win, it seems like, in years. It seems like every time they go there, it's a guaranteed L, even if it's fucking, who the hell knows who, Hoodie Allen playing quarterback for them. They can't seem to get a win there. Maybe things are different this year, but that, in my opinion, could be a tough stretch for the 49ers. Ian Sharp says that, yeah, the Browns defense gives Kyle problems. Jim Schwartz just gives him problems.
Is that the team that we haven't beat in like 40 years or some shit like that? Was that we played them like last year, the year before?
The Vikings. The Vikings.
Oh, it was the Vikings in Minnesota, right?
Right.
Is that what it
Since
was?
like 92 or something like that.
Yeah. I can't see who the Panthers signed in free agency. So re-sign, new signing. So maybe I was mistaken, but it had to be someone drafted then. But they
got McMillan, yeah.
Yeah. So that's who it was. Maybe that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, I mean that is a good stretch. It's also, the back-to-back division games. Those never go the way that you expect them to. So you kind of, when you got them back-to-back, that's kind of tough. I don't know the last time we had back-to-back division games. Now that I'm thinking about it, so that's kind of scary. Those games count double. So that right there is that's a 4-game stretch really, in just those two. There it is.
Sorry about that. I've handed the baby off to the wife.
All good, man. We're looking for tough stretches right now, man. I don't know what you see here with this schedule that we have.
I honestly, I see a lot of winnable games. I think the toughest stretch is going to be the first 2 games, to be honest. You're looking at 2 road games right off rip, one against the divisional opponent, one on an East Coast trip, early game, and you're looking at a defensive line where 2, if not 3 of those rookies they picked are going to start. You're looking at Upton Stout probably going to get some time. So you're looking at young guys having to come in and really make an impact early. So those road games right off the bat, going to be a tough challenge, particularly the Seattle game. And like I said, particularly in East Coast, one of the few East Coast road trips we're taking. Again, I think overall, I'm kind of with Mike, until October 26th, I wouldn't say tough. It's tough as far as their schedule goes, because I think they have a very favorable schedule. But when you look through week 8 and they play 5 out of those 8 on the road, like that's, and 9, they play 6 out of the first 9 on the road. So the second half of the schedule really balanced nicely to get them back a lot of home games on the back end. So it's going to be interesting to see.
There's not even any 3-game stretches where it's 3 at home or 3 on the road.
No.
I don't know the last time I've seen that either with a 49er schedule.
Yeah.
This is like as balanced as I've seen in a long time, guys.
But if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't think that there's going to be a stretch where the 49ers lose 2 games in a row. That's where I'm at right now.
If it were to happen, where do you think it would?
I could see them starting 0-2.
Oh, to start,
because yeah. So just hear me out.
I mean that goes
again
with what you just said.
Lots of rookies, right? You're trying to piece together a new defensive line, a new offensive line. Robert Saleh's got to come back in and try to make his impact. You don't know what you're going to have in year 2. Ricky Pearsall right off the bat. To me, Brandon Ayuk's not playing until that Rams game at the earliest. I don't think he's going to play the first 4. So you're missing a little bit there. Again, the 49ers traditionally in the preseason don't play their veterans, don't hit a lot in practice. And so if you look at a lot of their early season wins, or their early season games, I should say, a lot of them are rough. A lot of them are sloppy, and they don't play up to their potential. And it takes them a few weeks to kind of round into form. And I kind of expect that to be the case here. But yeah, if they started, 0-2, 1-2, going into the Jacksonville game, I wouldn't be shocked. But at that point, I think that they would probably start to take off. You get Brandon Ayuk back, start working him back in there. Again, the biggest factor for this 49ers team is going to be 2 things: their health and their focus. And we already know that they're focused, right? I mean, you got Robert Saleh making big moves. You have both Nick Bosa and Trent Williams at voluntary OTAs to set an example for the team. This is a team that's buying all in. They got George Kittle paid. Now we still need to see the Brock Purdy extension, but they're not dragging their feet on a lot of these. Earlier today came down the pipe, Mykel Williams signed to a fully guaranteed deal for his rookie deal. So they're getting him in. And it's just a matter of them staying healthy and staying focused. And there's no reason. I'm not going to be like the Colin Cowherds of the world saying like, oh, the 49ers peak, they're going to fall off this and this and that. That's too easy a thing to do, right? I think that they have done a good job of retooling where they need to. And the defense is not like the offense, right? We talk about the type of player that they drafted in Collins and West. We're both like, these are both nose tackle type guys. I mean, you see gap, you hit gap. And that's kind of where it is right now. So I don't think that the positions require a ton of learning on the fly. I think actually Nick Martin is going to have the biggest adjustment on the defense right off the bat. That's the one position where it's like, you got to be able to defend the run and the pass in different types of ways and, be a sideline to sideline guy if you're going to step into that position. Upton Stout probably going to play the nickel, just cover the guy, maintain zone integrity. There's simple things there. Offensively, I'd be more worried, but there was a stat out there, Zach, I don't know if you saw it, but that even with all of the injuries that the 49ers had, their offense was still 9th in EPA. So, the offense is going to be the offense. But the defense last year was so soft defensively, particularly against the run. They didn't turn the ball over against opposing teams. They didn't, collect a lot of turnovers. They have potential to, make an impact, but I think it's going to take a minute, and they need to stay focused.
Yeah, I was trying to find the tweet. I know it was shared in the chat. I'll pull it up because I think it was like a Mina Kimes tweet about how the 49ers even win.
It was.
Yeah.
It was Mina Kimes. I want to say this is a very key comment that we're kind of glossing over too. They have put in a ton of work on the special teams. So those little positional battles, those little field position battles where they would give up a lot before, if that changes again, that third phase is very, very important.
There's no if. There's no if. I broke down that man's presser. I'm telling y'all right now, that's going to be the most improved phase of this entire team. And that's saying something because I expect a lot of this new defense.
Well, Mike, considering how bad they were, I don't think it's hard to improve a lot.
Well, no, but
if they went from where they were last year to league average, that would be the biggest improvement of any. You know what I mean?
The defense was really, really bad, also though, like really bad.
They
so
weren't like
saying that.
They weren't 32 of 32 though. Did you, Zach? Remember that thing? Expected point or points lost on special teams or whatever, and the 49ers were like minus 56 points.
Yeah,
dude, if you go to league average, then that would be the biggest improvement that you can make. Like, you could go from 25th defense to first, and it ain't go make 56 negative points of, you know what I mean?
I guess I was so disappointed in the defense. I always expected the special teams to be bad since we hired that guy Schneider. So it never was like a surprise to me. I think I was very disappointed with the defense this past year, especially in the run game. So maybe I view it different than how it actually was. But I just think that special teams unit is going to be like not just good. I think it's going to have its special moments. I think it's going to have flashes. There's going to be times where it's like, oh my God, like teams are in trouble. Like, they're going to be kicking away from people. They're going to be trying to, come up with like the fakes and all that stuff, the disrespect. It's going to stop. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to see more teams going for it on fourth down because they don't want to go up against the Niners special teams units. Like, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah. To me, the two tough games stretch, if they were to lose back-to-back games, I would say weeks 6 through 7, Bucks, Falcons on the road, and then you come home for a primetime game. Maybe Michael Penix is lighting it up. The Bucks, historically, they've been able to handle, but Baker always plays them tough. He gives them fits. Mike Evans, maybe Chris Godwin's back by then, a month into the season. They did also draft, I'm forgetting which receiver they got. Didn't they draft a receiver in the first round too? The Bucks? Chat, let me know if I'm mistaken here. I could see that happening there. The Falcons were one game out from the playoffs last year, I think, if I remember correctly. Weren't they battling with Washington at the end? That Sunday night game, winner gets in. So
they got my guy from Ohio State.
Mybookie. Yeah.
Oh
so
my God.
They got a solid wide receiver. Thank you, chat. Yeah. Solid wide receiver duo until Chris Godwin gets back, and then trio once he does get back. So if there were to be, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but we're just trying to analyze the schedule. If there were to be a back-to-back L, I could see it there. Unfamiliar opponents.
I will say this, though. The 49ers own Baker Mayfield.
They were this close to not owning him last year. That's all I know.
Didn't Moody miss like 4 or 5 kicks in that game?
He's still my kicker as far as I know.
No, but I'm saying that wasn't nothing Baker did. That was that negative 56 special teams points that we talked about. Baker didn't do shit. Baker had 2 turnovers in that game.
It was not 4 or 5.
He stiff-armed Nick Bosa for a ridiculous 4th down conversion with the game on the line. That's all I remember from that game.
Yeah.
He didn't stiff-arm Nick. He didn't stiff-arm Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa was trying to pull him down inbounds.
He stiff-armed him.
With all
how are you going to stiff-arm somebody with a limp wrist, bro? Get out of here. Go watch your Warriors lose their game tonight.
He stiff-armed him.
Get out of here.
The 49ers, at their absolute worst, still own Baker Mayfield. I don't care. That's the bottom line right there. That's it right there. We still own his ass. So he's never getting a dub against us.
There you go. Moody missed 4.
No way he missed
game.
4 kicks. Are you guys talking about extra points?
In total, but that was the game that Debo went and choked out Tabor Pepper.
Yes.
All right. I don't remember there being 4 field goal attempts that were failed.
It was a missed extra point and 3 missed field goals.
Okay.
And Kyle said, "I don't give a fuck. Go out there and kick another one."
Right. Yeah. But it was a game winner, and he did it though. But it was a game winner that he nailed, though, right? Like that was the one that gave us the win. He nailed one.
Yes, but it was. I mean, a game winner. The Bucs still got the ball back, if I remember correctly, and then we had to win it on defense.
Who is this guy that's pretending to be Zach right now? What a Debbie Downer this guy is.
I'm just saying. Mike was saying it was not like he made it with no time on the clock. Like the Bucs got the ball back, you know. You're channeling your inner Grant Cohn, man. It was a win despite the 49ers playing like ass, and we owned Baker Mayfield.
What do the Niners with Kyle normally do after the bye week? Does anybody know Kyle Shanahan's record after the bye? And I'm going to Google it. I don't know it myself, because if we're talking about,
Baker was 18 of 29 for 116 yards in that game. He didn't beat shit. He was terrible. It was honestly a lot of unforced error. I mean, what type of field position did they get off? So the 49ers scored 23 points, right? Moody missed a bunch of field goals. Purdy in that game was 25 of 36 for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they only scored 23 points.
Yeah,
we can see what you guys are. Okay.
I was trying to pull up the Kyle Shanahan's record.
It says 4-4. It says 4-4 after the bye. So with that said, could the toughest stretch be after the bye week? And who do we play? That's Tennessee and Cleveland. Because like you guys said, Schwartz
Cleveland always gives
beat
Kyle, us, though. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Schwartz gives them the fits. Maybe that's the toughest 2-game stretch after the bye week, and then that one
could be.
Oof.
And guys, keep in mind, like we are grasping at straws trying to find a tough stretch in this weak ass schedule. Like,
yeah,
I don't want anyone watching thinking that we're being pessimistic. We are challenging ourselves to find the 2-game stretch. Matt already said like 15 minutes ago, there's no back-to-back losses on the schedule anywhere. Like he said that.
Nah, I don't see it, man. Yeah, I just don't see it.
Do we just
again, like unless it's the first two. Unless it's the first two.
Right, feeling our way out, like trying to find ourselves type of thing. But the offense should be intact. So I'm not worried about the Sam Darnold and the new wide receiving core for the Seahawks. I'm not worried about Tyler Shaw or whatever his name is at the quarterback. Shug.
Who's going to be like 27 by the time the 49ers play him. I mean, realistically, 26, like legitimately, but.
Hey, so I was incorrect. It was a game walk-off field goal for Moody.
From Moody.
That game.
Okay. I thought it was, but
honestly, that probably kept him from getting cut. The fact that he made that game winner. If you would have missed that one too, good Lord.
Yeah.
I remember there being a joke like Debo should have choked him out earlier. Not
Yeah.
him, but like Debo should have started shit earlier. Maybe it would have changed. That's all I remember. So
He was 3 for 6 according to for field goals. It doesn't have his extra point.
Oh, he doesn't have it.
right.
Wow.
No,
Maybe
it doesn't
that's
have
pretty-
it listed. So I'm sure he missed one, but it doesn't have it listed.
He definitely missed an extra point
I
in
don't
that game. I know that for sure. That's crazy that we even attempted 6 field goals in a game. That's
what I was saying. Kyle was like, I don't give a fuck. You're going back out there and you're going to kick it. I don't care. You just missed 4. I don't care. You just missed 5. It's like, go back out there.
Right. Jesus, that is insane. Like, first of all, fuck the offense. What were they doing that we had to settle for that many field goals against the Bucks? But like, all right, cool.
That game I'll
guess.
always remember for Ricky Pearsall's first touchdown.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That was kind of his breakout home. Well, the Lions game was kind of his breakout game, but that was kind of his like coming to moment in the NFL. That was cool. And he really took that one to the house.
His name is actually pronounced Shug.
I guess so. It's what the chat's saying.
Yeah,
I thought it was Shoe. Dude's another Davis Mills.
That's the career you think he's gonna have?
I think so. He looks just like him too.
His neck just isn't that long, is it?
Yeah. Not as long.
Not as long. It's bad all the way around, right? They don't have a lot. It's either gonna be that Shug guy or it's gonna be freaking
Spencer.
Yeah.
Spencer
the
Rattler. Spencer the Rat Rattler. Looking for his cheese.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't liked Spencer Rattler since that like high school show where he was just like a complete prick. It's like, dude, 17 and you're so far up your own ass. I'm surprised you could read a playbook, dude.
I agree with you, although I do also feel bad holding like a kid when he's talked about it saying, that's not a fair representation of me. I was a punk ass kid with a ton of success and I let it get to my head. But also it's like, well, how much is still in you, like
I don't blame him. I don't blame him as much as I blame his parents because that's the parents' job to control that shit.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
There's the show.
So there was a high school show about
quarterback.
Quarterback, and Spencer Rattler was on that show, and he was a complete prick. Like he was QB1. He would shit talk QB2.
Or that was
he
the
thought
name.
He was
QB1.
Yeah, QB. Yeah, he was QB1. Like his whatever. The guy I can't even remember. And I think the guy that backed him up also made the NFL at some point. I don't think he's a starter or anything. Somebody correct me on that. But like total prick. Totally like. You want athletes to be confident, right? But this guy was cocky to the point of like being a dick to his own teammates.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a thing. That's where I'm like, hey, that's the parents' job to control that, to corral that in. When you see your kid acting like an asshole, you know what I mean? Like that's when you got to teach them the lesson. It's like, hey man, as bad as you think you are, there's always going to be somebody badder. There's always going to be somebody better. And if you don't act like you're not the best, if you don't act like you got work to do, then somebody's going to pass you by. And it's, you know what I mean? Because everybody in high school, right? In the NFL, everybody was the man in high school. Everybody was the man in college. But sometimes in the NFL, you're not the man. You're the man at the end of the bench.
Well, what happens is you're playing with too many men to be the man. So
right.
Yeah.
And what's funny is he was on the second season. The first season, Justin Fields was on it, and it was the exact opposite. I mean, ultimate pro, consummate professional, humble, very polite, respectful, very, just hardworking guy. Dad's a police officer. You get that. But Spencer Rattler and on the other hand, it's complete.
I haven't seen the interviews where he's talked about it or whatever, but if that slice of humble pie that he got served helped him to become like a better person, then kudos to him, because that also takes some self-awareness to realize like, hey man, I was up my own ass big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that he could be the quarterback in week 2 that the 49ers are facing, He's a bit of a mobile guy that has given the 49ers fits at times.
That whole 26 thing though with Shuck or whatever, Shug, whatever, Suge Knight, whatever. I think that's, man. I feel like that would entice the Saints to want to play him earlier, right? It's just like, dang, we got to like shit or get off the pot with this guy. Like, can we really have a guy that we took in? I think he was a third rounder. Was he a third round guy? or a 4th rounder, like, but still you drafted him and it's like, he's 25, 26. We got to get moving on him, see what we got. I feel like they know what they have in Rattler. So it'll be interesting. Kind of see some of these camp battles play out.
He was drafted. I hate that my computer defaults to Yahoo. I've switched it like 5 times, man. 2nd round, pick 8. Yahoo's search engine sucks.
Wait, he was a 2nd round pick? He's definitely going to be the starter then. At 26, and he's a 2nd rounder, he's definitely playing. Now, the bigger question is who's going to be the quarterback for the Browns when we play them? Is it going to be the lefty midget, or is it going to be shit Durr?
Did you see?
I want the Giants to by then.
I want the Giants to release that pre-draft footage so badly. Like they've hyped it up as being so terrible, and I need to know how bad it is.
Did you see
an interview?
His interview, Shadur's interview with the Giants was apparently like horrendous, to the point that I heard something that the Cleveland Browns and Shador Sanders like camp or whatever both have threatened to sue if the Giants release the video because that's how bad it is.
Shit.
Leak it.
I mean, there were reports that he was going into team like these meetings and telling them, "Don't draft me. I don't want to play for you. I'm only playing for X, Y, and Z teams." Maybe the Giants were one of them. I don't know.
Well, the Giants were the one that Albert Breer was talking about, how they purposefully did an install with a mistake in it and he didn't catch it. And then when he was like called out on it by Brian Dable, he like got upset about it. And they're also the team that they put up some film of like a particularly bad interception of his. And like it got to the point where he didn't like being called on that either. And like he essentially just said like, maybe I'm not the guy for you.
That's wild, man.
You gotta be able to take more criticism than that in the NFL, bro.
Right.
100%.
I'm not trying to like, that's not, and I mean, come on. The apple's not going to fall far from the tree, right? Like, what did his dad tell the Giants? Were you guys picking 10?
Listen, the talent apple fell far from the tree.
Right.
That's the issue. Like, come on, man. Like, everybody knew Deion Sanders
himself was telling people that his son was going to be a top 5 pick. Like, he posted those things himself on social media.
That's where somebody who's got Deion's ear needs to be like, look, I know you love your son, but let's be real, homie. Like, come on.
You know what's wild is his other son is like the exact opposite. Like I've seen he signed with the Bucks as an undrafted free agent. He goes to the first.
He was like, I'm gonna be the treat guy. I'm gonna be the treat guy for everybody.
Shakes every single reporter's hand, introduces himself, gets everybody's name. Yeah, says that I'm trying to get into the safeties group chat so I could be the treat guy. Make sure I bring the treats every day. It's like,
you know why?
Why did that skip Shador?
It's like, you know why? Because he's not the prodigal son. He like Harry from the royal family. He's the spare. You know, we saw Deion shit talk Shiloh and tell him like that he wasn't that good. Like Deion would talk to him on the sideline at Colorado in a way he'd never talk to Shador.
You just called someone's son a spare.
Hold on, but if you don't know the royal family at all, do you, Mike?
No, I don't.
So William is like the firstborn. He's the prodigal son. And Harry, because he was like not as whatever, was known as the more fun one, the more laid back one. And then Harry wrote a book called Spare. Like he called himself
It's a term.
It's a reference. Yeah.
Because it's like, I have the next in line to the throne.
Yeah.
This is a spare. Like just in case anything goes wrong to my firstborn.
Well, yeah, and then no pressure either, right? Like all the to be fair, all the pressure is on Shador to be the great one, right? Nobody was expecting Shiloh, so without that expectation and that pump up of being the prodigal son, of being like, hey, you're the next in line, then you get to ride in the shadow a little bit and get to be a little more cool hand Luke about everything. So you don't have to be as uptight. I think that it was done a disservice the way that Deion really kind of left Shador out to dry in terms of his attitude. But, because I watched and I never watched Fig Newton, but I watched a Fig Newton video where even he broke down his draft process, and he was just like, look, there were teams that would call me and be like, hey, we want you to be, here tomorrow with like cleats. And he's like, man, I didn't want to go to that. He's like, but this is the tryout. This is the interview. This is the process. So like you do what you do because you don't know behind the scenes if like word will get out, and it's not necessarily team to team, but it's like, for example, if somebody had a bad visit with the 49ers, do we not think that somebody that was, close to them, like a Clay Kubiak or something, talks to like a Matt or a Mike LaFleur, right? Or, hey, let me talk to my old buddy, Mike McDaniel, and be like, hey, dude, are you guys having this dude in? Just like, watch out, bro. You know what I mean? And in a non-official capacity, but just because they talk to each other. So you got to watch that stuff. You got to go in there like you are interviewing for a job, because you are. And it just seemed like maybe he didn't do that. Like he thought being in the NFL was his right rather than a privilege of being taken, Yep.
So bottom line, this is a cakewalk schedule.
Bottom line, we're finally going to beat the Browns in Cleveland. We're going to Cleveland for like the 5th time in 6 years or whatever it is.
How many? I know it's early.
Yeah.
What we know, how many dubs you see in here?
12. I got 12. And I think that's being conservative if this team stays healthy and gels.
I've been looking over and over and over, and I can't find 3 losses that I can convince myself it's a real thing. So I got the Niners at 14-3 right now, guys.
Hey.
I'm not even kidding. And this, I thought it would change once I saw the schedule. The schedule actually helps, right? Like just looking at the opponents, and it's like, all right, we're not going 17-0. Let's go ahead and just throw that out, right? So let's find a divisional opponent that we're going to lose to, right? It's like maybe, all right, we're going to start there. Dude, like Matt said, there's no tough 2-game stretch. I think that we play more games in the second half. We only have 8 home games. So, I mean, we have more in the second half than we do in the first half. This is the schedule of all schedules. No 3-game road trips. This is I got 3 losses. I got 3 losses here.
For me, I got 4 losses. Just being conservative. Watch, I'm gonna sit here next January when they were like fucking 7-10 or something like that. I look like an idiot. No, I'm kidding. I think they probably lose one of the 3 divisional games. I think they lose either Atlanta or Chicago. This is tough. The Browns until I see otherwise, and maybe the Texans.
I like the way you're thinking. I got the Thursday night football game against the Rams, right? Short week, division game on the road. Short road, but on the road nonetheless. I got that one. I have the Browns, and I have the Colts. Those are the 3 that I see right now, just because we don't ever beat those other 2 teams, period, right? Like, Schwartz is going to have his team fired up. The offense might completely suck, but it's going to be enough where Kyle just crumbles and just doesn't rise to the occasion. And so those are the 3 I see.
Yeah.
Man, I got to choose. I think we dropped the week 1 opener to the Seahawks on the road just because there's an overwhelming number of rookies, not because I'm impressed by anything Seattle's going to do. I think we split one of the 2 games with the Rams. I could see us losing to Houston on the road. I got to pick 5 because I said 12-5. I could also see Cleveland, and then I could see Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, is also one that could possibly. Well, I think
especially because they're going to be motivated. I mean, as bad as the 49ers were this last year, I went to that Bears game and they beat the shit out of the Bears. And so talk about a team.
Motivation? Like, well, I keep hearing people say that Chicago's going to be much improved based off of what? And I'm not trying to be funny at all. Like, based off of
you get year 2, Caleb Williams with a much improved offensive line. They went out and drafted. God, did they get Devin Neal? I want to say they drafted Devin Neal. They picked up a good. Here, let me go to their draft. I really liked the Bears draft. I thought they had one of the best. One of the best drafts.
Bears did have a good draft.
Yeah, so they got they picked Colston Llewellyn from Michigan. That was the pick that I really liked. So they got him a fantastic tight end. They got Luther Burden from Missouri. So you pair him up. Yeah, you pair him up. They got a tackle. They got Shamar Turner, the defensive tackle from Texas A&M. Yep. They got.
I think you guys are forgetting something. It's a very popular two-phrase statement that goes around the NFL every year, and it's not until the end of the year that everyone says, "Oh, I understand." It's sophomore slump, and it applies to no one more than the quarterback position, right? Jaden Daniels is going to have a down year. Caleb Williams, it's what's going to happen. These second-year guys, because there's just so much film out there, they're gonna spend all offseason studying those tendencies.
Here's the thing, though. You get him an offensive-minded coach in Ben Johnson coming over from the Lions rather than Matt Eberflus, who was absolute dog shit last year, and you improve his offensive line. Like, I would say that Caleb Williams is more in line for a sophomore, like, blooming. Before the third year, he gets a little bit of a slump because he was sacked so many times as a rookie. What do you really have on film other than him running for his life? You don't have a ton.
Here's my counter to that, and I want you to keep in mind Ben Johnson and his play calling style. He's more likely to put this kid in tricky and risky situations than Eberflus would have, because he is Mr. Go for it on fourth down. That wasn't Dan Campbell's doing. That was the offensive coordinator saying, "Hey, I got to play if you want me to do it," and then Campbell giving it the thumbs up. He's got that mentality to keep going for it on fourth down. He's going to make I'm not saying he's going to. He could make Caleb look like a complete fuck up. He's going to keep putting him in fourth down situations, and if he fails just half of them, the league is going to say, "Yeah, it's him."
Here's my counter to that. What was Caleb Williams known for at USC? It was all that playmaking and extra shit when he got blocking and blah, blah, blah. And now he has some blocking, and now he has a guy who can actually draw up a play, right? Eberflus wasn't drawing anything clever up. They were running vanilla fucking offense.
That's fair. I like it. That's fair.
And you get a guy who can actually scheme an offense, and we saw Detroit would cook. I mean, fucking Detroit. Listen, Ben Johnson made Jared Goff a lot of money. So, I mean, you look at somebody who you would think would be more, and I'm no Caleb Williams fan. I did not like him coming out of college. I still think that he's got a lot of flaws, but I do think that the Bears are going to be one of the most improved teams in the NFL, particularly when you look around the league and some of the other things. Like, the Vikings are going to have a massive fall off. They're not going to be as good as they were. They're playing 2 international games back to back, and they're going to run out JJ McCarthy. And I love JJ McCarthy, but it's essentially his rookie season because he missed all of last year. And you're asking him to go out and carry a team that was 13-3 or 13-4 or 14-3 or whatever they were with the number 1 seed. You look at the Lions. I mean, how many times can the Lions fall short before you worry about you're hemorrhaging talent? You're not able to, again, you lose Ben Johnson. What's their offense going to look like? Is it going to be as inventive as it was, or do they have like a serious fall off from their offense? What does their defense look like? You have Aiden Hutchinson coming back from a serious injury, and the Packers I don't believe in Jordan Love at all. He's thrown against the 49ers. He has thrown 4 of the worst fucking interceptions I've ever seen in my life. I don't see it with him, man. He's not good. So when you talk about an NFC North, I think Caleb Williams is, able to maybe take a step up, and the Bears overall having addressed, man, let me tell you, what the Bears did for their offensive line, I would have killed for the 49ers to have done.
Right.
In free agency.
Yes. And the draft.
No.
Trading.
So you guys,
whatever else.
You guys are talking inside one side of your mouth, and the other side isn't making a sense, because while I hear what you guys are saying, I think you guys are forgetting just how bad our defensive line was. We couldn't do what they did.
No, I'm not saying no.
But where they invested
Bears,
those picks.
Yeah, but the Bears didn't take like high-end offensive linemen in the draft. They did a lot of it through free agency and trade.
We didn't have the financial flexibility.
Well, they took mid-rounders.
What are you talking about? They had $50 million in cap space.
That's put to the side for Brock's contract. We know what that money.
No,
for.
because you're not going to get a ton of new money on Brock Purdy's contract this season, and you have $80 million in dead cap coming off next year that can pay Brock.
Yeah,
Purdy.
but they want to carry a lot of this shit over. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's not just about year one. Like that's you guys got to remember that Jed was like, hey, enough cash spending. We're not getting the benefits of it yet. So I mean, I don't want to move the goalpost too far from what your point was. So I'm just saying that
they paid $20 million for a fucking backup tight end, dude.
I don't believe that. I know it happened, and I saw the contract, and I still don't believe that. There's more to it than that. He's replacing George Kittle. Y'all just don't know it yet.
Oh, you're crazy, Mike. Come on now, bro. But you know what I mean, though? Like, listen, you couldn't have taken that $20 million and gotten Dahlman. You know what I mean? Right. Or just somebody. You're really gonna run it back with Brendel and McKivitz. Like that's like even one player. If you got me one player, right? I'm not saying pay like Will Freeze got paid and made like $84 million. I ain't even saying that. Dahlman signed for what, 2 years, 17 or something like that. Like you could have given him the tight end contract that you gave out at a much more premium position and then drafted a backup tight end in the draft anyway. Or I don't know, go back the dudes that they brought back. So
they spent a 2nd and a 6th round pick, maybe even more. I just haven't 7th round pick too. No. 2nd and a 6th, in addition to everything they did in free agency, whereas the 49ers could only manage to get a 7th round. One of their 3 7th round picks, I think, was spent on Connor Colby. They didn't use any of their free agency. They did bring in DJ Humphries and Andre Dillard like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. They're not prime free agents. And mind you, this is like years coming now. It's not like it was just 1 year, where they didn't really address the offensive line as much as we would have liked to. This is years now, like years they've neglected it.
Yeah.
Aside from Pooney, they drafted a guy Kingston last year that didn't make it. It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate.
What if I told you guys Hennessy was the answer at center, and then that now changes 2 positions? Right?
We'll see, but like again, and listen, and maybe Dillard comes in and or DJ Humphries comes in and steals that right tackle spot. That would change things, but it's more about like the intent, right? Like so, the Bears took Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College in the 2nd round. I mean, that's at least something, right? But the biggest thing here is that they signed Jonah Jackson, they signed Joe Thuney, and they signed Drew Dahlman. Like they upgraded 4 out of 5. You know what I mean? So like. I don't know, man. Maybe I was okay. So he said Drew Dahlman signed for 3 years, 42. So maybe I was thinking it was 16, but that was the yearly average or whatever. But still, like $20 million for a backup. You know what I mean? Like
no, $20 million for a backup tight end is insane,
tight end.
If I'm being honest,
yeah,
with you. Like that's
and Dahlman was PFF's
15,
like
16 a year.
Yeah, Dahlman was like the 5th ranked center on PFF, right. Like overall ranked center. I mean, I don't know, man. I would have liked to see more on the offensive line. And what really rankles me like and rubs me the wrong way is where John Lynch was like, yeah, there were a couple times where we might have gone, but like we didn't want to reach. And I'm just like, yeah, but you like reached 3 times in this draft. At least 3 times. Yep. You reached with Jordan James, you reached with the Ole Miss wide receiver Watkins, and you reached again down the line. And I can't
technically they reached with Nick Martin too.
But that to me is okay because they, again, like I said when we reviewed the draft, is the 49ers are so good at identifying linebacker talent that I'm going to believe them until they prove me wrong. And Martin paints a similar profile as to what people were saying about Fred Warner when he was coming out. And I'm not saying that he's Fred Warner, but I understand the vision of it, right? But particularly offensively, they reached a lot. Like, why are you taking a 7th round quarterback on a guy that's going to make your practice squad at best? Like, he's not going to back up Brock Purdy. We all know Mac Jones is. So what are you doing drafting another quarterback?
What if
you got Mac Jones under contract for 2 seasons.
What if he's better
than Mac Jones?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if he's better, then he's better. But they didn't know that going in. Go back and look at we talked about it with the release of Drake Jackson, at least in the group chat. But go back and look at that 2022 draft and tell me that you think the 49ers have any fucking idea what's going on in those.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were supposed to be talking about that. That was something that we didn't bring up. The jersey number changes, the Jake Jackson release. Everything that happened last week. We didn't do a show last week. I forgot about going over that kind of stuff. But it's
Zach had an upset tummy.
Yeah, I got sick. That wasn't last week, by the way. That was.
I know it was Sunday. We were supposed to be Sunday.
Yeah, Joey says.
Glad you're better for here. By the way,
thank you. Torn ACL. Dude played the entire season on a torn ACL. Just wild shit. I mean, obviously, I know it's somewhat heals up, but it's like that's people can't even walk typically. And yeah, I only brought up Nick Martin because based on like there were the charts going around of players of how big of a reach they were, and he was one of the bigger ones according to draft analysts, which I have the air quotes up because I don't really give a shit what they say.
Grade was an F.
Right. Like it doesn't really matter.
Mad late.
But
yeah, but listen, they've also had other draft picks.
They have a list.
It's like
of the biggest reaches, and for the 49ers, you got to say almost none of them are still on this team, sadly. So there's some truth to that methodology, I would say. Maybe not a lot, but there is some. If none of them shake out,
yeah, most draft picks don't. So I get it.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
No, 100%. But 100%.
Be a bust. Yeah.
Really, where the 49ers are going to make their money is in these first 5 picks. The all defense, this is the all defense draft. You need all 5 of these guys to be contributors. And once you get past CJ West, I really don't care about the rest of them. I mean, it'd be nice if Jordan Watkins did something, but I'm not really, whatever. I do have a little bit more hope for Jordan James, our boy in the chat. Stuart was talking about how in terms of like his ability to like, he had one of the better yards after contact numbers. He had one of the better, value in terms of his receiving out of the backfield. So I do think that Jordan James could be somebody. My issue with him is size is the biggest thing with him. Marquez Sigel. I don't know how you say his last name.
I'm saying
Siegel. Okay, we can say Siegel. A pick of need, right? With the loss of Talanoa Hufanga and obviously with the, I guess, do we know if it's like it's just damage to the repair ligament of the ACL for Malik Mustafa, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, obviously a position of need, but but it's like Curtis Rourke, you need to pick him, Junior Bergen, you couldn't have got him as an undrafted free agent. Again, the Jordan Watkins selection, there were offensive linemen on the board. Again, I will go back to Frazier from LSU, a guard that you could have drafted that would have been like perfect for this team. So if you can hit on Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, Nick Martin, Upton Stout, and CJ West, and I believe they have an absolute dog. CJ West is still my favorite player in this draft. I think that you have a good draft, but they need those guys to hit. Very crucial for them because their drafts have looked worse and worse as they've gone further along. Yeah. Now last year's draft was pretty good, to be honest. Yeah.
So we've done how many wins we predict. We've done whatever tough aspects of the schedule we think there are. Is there anything else in this schedule that intrigues you? You want to talk about? We talked about the bye being late. Are you guys shocked that like we're actually getting a fucking benefited schedule for once on rest, on no teams coming off of byes, on a cakewalk of teams? Like,
just for the sake of interest, I really hope that the bookended games of at Seattle and then home Seattle, I hope both of those games mean something. Well, I hope the last one means something and that they're competitive. I find it very interesting and fun that the 49ers open with arguably their biggest rival and close with their biggest rival. That's kind of a fun thing. And I do like that there's only one stretch of back-to-back, like, so the Rams November 9th and the 16th against the Cardinals is the only back-to-back division games that we have this year. Every other one is spread out by at least a week. So pretty interesting. And I like the way that broke down.
So yeah, that is a good point, Matt. Speaking of the Seahawks, I've been to ask you guys, Geno's no longer there. Sam Darnold is now in there. how much of a threat do you think he poses? They added Cooper Kupp. They obviously have they traded DK to Pittsburgh, so it's Cooper Kupp, JSN.
They lost Lockett.
They lost Lockett to Tennessee. Does that offense put fear in you guys' heart? Or how about their defense? They got Nick Manuel, whatever the fuck his name is.
Get him out of here. These guys are trash. I get it. Listen, right? What everyone's going to focus on is the defensive coordinator, right, coming from the Ravens and how he likes the safeties and all. Get him out of here, man. I'm not trying to hear it. It's over. And so the Seahawks' best days are behind them. I'm not worried about these guys at all.
Mike, they got your boy though, Elijah Arroyo.
I know. I actually think that the Seahawks had one of the better drafts in the division, if I'm being completely
I like the Milroe pick in the 3rd round, to be honest.
Yeah. They had a really, really solid draft. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But week 1, we're smoking them. I will be having large wings on hand for that game. I'm letting you guys know right now. I may actually go out and buy turkey wings so I can grill them to make just to drive the point home for that game. Oh, you know what? That's going to be so much fun. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Some turkey wings.
Ian Sharp.
By the way, we don't even know if Cooper Kupp is going to make it to week 1. That dude is walking IR right now.
It to week 1. That's hilarious. Ian Sharp, no Jefferson for Darnold. This is a great point. You know, he had a great year, but he had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, plus Kevin O'Connell calling plays. He now goes to Seattle. Yeah. They just shipped DK out. They lost Tyler Lockett, and it's JSN and Cooper Kupp.
Well, listen, I'm glad that the pumpkin got paid, but the clock has struck midnight already. It happened. It happened in the last week of the season prior to the playoffs, and everybody was like, "Nah, he'll be fine." Even in the group chat, I was like, "Nah, he's toast. He's back to being Sam Darnold. He's back." He remembered. He passed by a mirror, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I'm Sam Darnold," and remembered. So he's good. And again, like you say, Zach, what a downgrade. You go from Kyle Shanahan to Kevin O'Connell, both great offensive play callers, to whatever is in Seattle, and I don't see it, man. They're going to be bad. But at least he's got Gray's able to protect him.
And I'm even more glad that the pumpkin got paid from the Seahawks of all teams. Use that salary cap. Please use more and more of it.
Yep. I mean, honestly, I have the Seattle Seahawks being like the worst team in the division, to be honest.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
Well, then that's
worse than Arizona.
Start and finish for us.
Yeah.
That's how we felt about when they signed Geno. Like, we didn't, it was like, oh, just Geno? Who gives a shit, right? So we're back in the same place. Like, every quarterback they pick up, it's like, yeah, okay, we're not worried about that guy.
And Geno beat us one time, and it, like, acted like they won the Super Bowl.
Well,
to be fair, that probably was the biggest win of his career, so.
That's fair.
He's never won a playoff game.
But we're quickly approaching the territory that the Legion of Boom used to talk about, right? It's not really a rivalry if only one team wins. And there's no reason why the 49ers shouldn't sweep the season series from the Seahawks. They're bad.
Lael says Clint Kubiak. Is he the Kubiak that went to Seattle? Is he our OC? I know there's a bunch of Kubiaks out there.
I thought that's Clay.
Clay Kubiak?
Our OC, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of Kubiaks.
Going through the chat here, Geno did have the game-winning drive, but they have Eric Saubert, their instant contenders.
Bro, listen. Geno had the game-winning run on like a completely blown,
busted coverage.
Geno ran for 36 yards on a game-winning touchdown, and like nobody covered him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Again, I think a lot of last season was injuries and focus, and it's what I talked about this season. The 49ers did not look like a focused team last year. And by the way, and we haven't even mentioned this, but that was pretty much confirmed by George Kittle, where he went on, it did media and was like, yeah, man, it's nice to not have any like major contract disputes and this and this and that. And essentially like confirming that the team hears the noise. And they thought that they were entitled to go back to that Super Bowl, and they got their asses whipped. And the fact that
quarterback
Trent Williams and Nick
controversy.
Bosa and everybody showed up, right? Brock Purdy's not holding out for his contract. He went to OTAs. I know Kittle missed the first day. I think that was more probably because he was hungover from WrestleMania, where I saw him, by the way, but where he was more doing his own thing. But the very next day signs a contract. He's back in camp. Everybody's trying to get healthy. Everybody's looking good. Like everybody's hanging out together. There was like that golf thing with Brandon Ayuk and Brock Purdy and George Kittle and all them. I think Nick Bosa and all them went to like a Grateful Dead concert. Like they're actually look like they're bonding together and are focused and together.
They're
on
showing
this,
up
so.
in 3s and 4s at basketball
Yeah.
games and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like the team is back
Yeah.
together, man.
Yeah. So I think if they're focused, it's not going to be like it was where Geno gets a game-winning drive because the 49ers forgot how to play football.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Jake Moody's not going to be that kicker, by the way. I don't think he makes it.
I'm going to come right back to that. Out of the three of us, Matt, you had the most losses. Was it 5?
I think I said 12-5. But
Okay.
that's just because, again, it's the NFL, right? Like weird shit happens sometimes.
Well, you have to account for the weird shit, and that's what my issue is. Like the weird shit, I still got 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's I don't like.
I'm playing
having
it
the
super
3.
conservative too, by the way. I'm playing it like,
Right.
I'm assuming they're healthy, but like worst case scenario, they, again, maybe Moody comes out and fucking shanks like 3 in the opener, and then they cut him after that. I don't know.
I think I see E Nice's comment here. I think this team is full of number 2 wide receivers. I know that sounds weird, right? But I think Ricky Pearsall is a number 2 wide receiver. I think Jawan Jennings is a number 2 wide receiver. I think they have them here, and so in the absence of 11, or as you said there, Brandon Ayuk, I think we'll be okay. It will be interesting to see week 1, Niners, no Debo, no Ayuk. I will give him that. And so if there's an error, if there's a spot where we can mess up in the beginning, like Matt said, a lot of rookies, a lot of young players contributing that early stretch of those first 2 or 3 games there, that could be it. You got 2 out of those 3 games against division opponents to start the season, and your wide receivers, you got Jawan Jennings as the lead guy, maybe, right? Like so that's really what you're looking at.
Well, let me ask you a question. Again, and we talk about, listen, AJ Brown really good, right? But like maybe not. What would you say, AJ Brown, like a top 10 receiver, but not necessarily. He's not the best receiver in the NFL. Nobody would say he's the best, right?
For sure.
I agree with
It's
that.
pretty much Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are largely considered the top wide receivers in the NFL, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown probably like right after that, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
What have those guys won? Fuck all, right? So would you rather have a team with a number 1 wide receiver, a number 2 wide receiver, a number 3 wide receiver, or would you rather have a team when Ayuk comes back, if he's healthy, that has 3 number 2 wide receivers?
Yeah, I'm fine
in a
with
Kyle
that.
Shanahan offense that is meant to spread the ball around. Oh, by the way, to go along with those 3 number 2 wide receivers, you also have perhaps the most versatile running back in the NFL and the best tight end in the NFL. So if that's not enough to eat on offense, like I don't know what to tell you. And I'd rather not have the egos, right? Ricky Pearsall ain't going to be mad if he only gets like 4 targets or whatever. You know what I mean? Jawan Jennings is going to be ready to go no matter when you throw him the ball. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to go up and play. Ayuk is going to be hungry to prove himself coming off of that injury after that big contract dispute. We know George Kittle's a gamer. We know that Christian McCaffrey's a gamer. Garendo's going to come off the bench. You got Jordan James coming out wanting to prove himself. I'm not worried about the skill positions on this offense at all. I worry about the offensive line. That's the only part of that offense that I'm even questioning at this point. So I'd much rather have the lack of ego and everybody, willing to do their part than have somebody who's going to get pissed off if you don't throw him the ball. You know what I mean? And by the way, even with AJ Brown, who did win a Super Bowl, what was he doing on the sideline reading that book? So you got to think about that too.
No question.
I would rather not
Brock
have
Purdy?
the ego. Brock Purdy to me is not that ego-driven guy. Like, what's the question?
No. You said I have no questions or concerns about the.
No, I don't.
position.
No, I don't have. No, I don't
The
have any
offensive
concerns
line.
about Brock Purdy. No,
Okay.
I know what Brock Purdy is. Is he a top 5 quarterback? No. But is he a top half quarterback in the league? Yeah, and you can win with that. I would say Brock Purdy's like a top 5 processor of the game. If you put Brock Purdy's brain with Sam Darnold's body, you'd have like the best quarterback in the league.
I think even with all of the deficiencies in the offensive line last year, like we said 20, 30 minutes ago, they were like the 7th ranked offense in the NFL. You know, it's like, so in my opinion, they got better on defense, right? They're younger. There's going to be some growing pains, don't get me wrong, but the talent has definitely been upgraded. You had Michael Williams, you had Alfred Collins, CJ West, Nick Martin, Upton Stout, plus a couple of, fringe guys you added in free agency. And the offense, in my opinion, is only going to get one step better. You bring in Jordan James, very similar style back to Jordan Mason. I think he's a better pass catcher. And most importantly for the offense, Christian McCaffrey's healthy. And he's like fully healthy. He's looking great. He's running. There are clips out there. He's working out Brock Purdy in the offense. And, Lyle says addition by subtraction. Debo's gone. Not only is that black hole out there on offense, and I'm being a little facetious there, but dramatic. The mental headspace that was required by Kyle Shanahan to try and
to feed him the ball.
Yes, acclimated and make sure he gets his 15 to 20 touches a game. That's no longer here. Now that opens up everybody else. Maybe we do see a Jacob Cowing get more involved. Maybe we do see a Jordan Watkins, a rookie, which probably not because he doesn't play rookie receivers, get more involved. Maybe Ricky Pearsall suddenly, gets way more involved. But until Brandon Ayuk comes back, I think an offense of, Purdy, McCaffrey, Garendo, Kittle, Ricky and Juwan, that's a solid offense. Like, I got no complaints there. It's a matter of how they hold up front. Yeah, and I'm really hoping.
And then week 3, you get DeMarcus Robinson to come in and be a veteran presence as a wide receiver.
That's right.
Well. We didn't even talk about that. You got DeMarcus Robinson potentially like midway through the season being your wide receiver 4. Like, that's a pretty nice group, dude.
Yeah.
Along with if you get any contribution out of Jordan Watkins at all.
Has
and
he
Zach,
officially
to your point,
been suspended?
2 games.
2 games, yeah.
When did they announce that?
This week, I think, earlier this week.
Oh, I have been completely disconnected, so I didn't even know that. Wow. Very interesting.
And Zach, to your point about growing pains, the one thing I will say, the 49ers averaged less than 2 sacks per game last year. And the one area where these rookies will need to make an adjustment is in the pass rush. But the one area where they are good, where the 49ers were dog shit, is run defense. And if you can stop the run, you can win games. And so, yeah, it might not look great to begin with, but last year's defense was really bad. Really bad. To the point where we all owe Steve Wilkes an apology. You know what I mean? Like, it was horrifically bad.
Yeah, I mean, they
I know Mike's shaking your head. Listen, I'm doing it for effect, brother. I'm doing it for effect because
I get you, but I'm not apologizing that motherfucker.
Yeah, no.
I get you.
Fuck that guy.
But Wilkes was definitely better than Sorensen, so I'm with you.
Right, which and by the way, not necessarily Sorensen's fault. Like, he was put in a position that he had no business having that job.
All right, I got to wrap up. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
Would you be okay if they signed Gabe Davis?
I would be all for signing Gabe Davis. All for it. I think that'd be a great signing.
I agree. I think he's a shifty player that Kyle would actually have a lot of fun drawing plays up for. But I think we have something like that here in Cowing, and we haven't utilized it. And so what you guys were talking about earlier with the subtraction of Debo, Kyle openly admitted what you were saying, Zach, wasn't hyperbole. Like, Kyle really admitted, like, there were times where we lost Debo and it was like, oh, the whole game plan is out now. Like, I got to figure out like what to do now. You drew up a game plan revolving around one player. Like, I think that's very irresponsible. And you can call it what you want. For him to admit that on the microphone, I don't applaud that. I don't think that's brave. I think that's fucking stupid. You should have never admitted something like that, that you made an entire game plan around one player. So addition by subtraction for sure. But the only pause for me getting a guy like Gabe Davis here is that we have a Jacob Cowing here, and I think they have similar skill sets. That's all.
I agree. I'd rather see what we have in Cowing. All right, last thing, guys, that I wanted to bring up. The 49ers are basically hinting with the rebrand 2 days ago and this right here. Are they getting uniforms? I feel like they might be getting uniforms. Now, is it just going to be like a rivalry alt, or do you think it'll be a full kit? Because I'll just say real quick, I think it's going to be a full kit. They've gone out of their way to point out all of the branding changes that they're going to do, and they wanted to make sure that they made sure that the logo was like, we're taking the outline around it and we're taking it out of the oval. And to me, you can't really keep it on your uniform if that's not your logo anymore. And so that's why I think it's going to be a full uniform refresh.
Yeah. I do think so, and it's gonna spike sales and everything. I think it's gonna be a whole new thing, and that's kind of exciting, right? It gives us something to look forward to in this season. We're gonna look at this as a superstition type of thing because of the success that we are projected to have this season. It's gonna hit the ground running, and it's gonna be the best thing that's happened to the 49ers in the last 20 years.
Any worry that Nike makes these ugly as fuck?
There's a big worry for me.
100%, dude.
I've watched Oregon football long enough to know that a lot of different variations of a jersey doesn't mean that it's good because some of them were ugly.
Listen, I know Zach is still traumatized from that San Francisco Giants City Connect that they came out with.
Yeah. That was ugly.
Horrific. Please, God, don't let the jerseys suck.
I think that it's possible that these are only those rivals jerseys that we've heard, Nike's going to be doing. And if it is, the reports that are coming out, almost none of the insiders like them. They're saying they're ugly. Nike's doing too much. It's like, all gold jersey or the color rush, some of those were dope, but I haven't heard a good thing about it. I thought again that they were going to release that shit today. So I don't know when the hell they're waiting to release it.
I don't know.
I guess they have a few months, but
I think they want to get clear of the schedule just because shortly after the schedule came out or whatever, like they posted their Ticketmaster links. I think they want to like be able to sell them or whatever. But I can't imagine they go through the trouble of being like, this is our heritage. Look at us change this logo. Look at this font. Look at this and that. And then just be like, oh, same fucking helmets, same uniform. You know what I mean? The 49ers haven't changed their uniforms. Really, I mean, I know they did the 2-stripe and then back to the 3-stripe thing, but the NFL has certain rules. I think you have to carry a primary jersey for 5 years before you can like alter it or whatever. That really wasn't the case with the 49ers. It was really more flourishes than anything else. They're allowed to change their jersey at any time. I just hope that they stand out and that they are a tribute to tradition while also like making them more exciting. And for the love of God, if you're going to have gold pants, please make sure that they match the helmet. That's my biggest gripe about the current uniforms is that they have like that gold pants and then the shiny ass gold helmet. And make the face mask red.
You keep talking about this like the gold and all that stuff. I think it's going to be rainbow. Like I think it's going to be like that.
Get the fuck out of here.
Listen to me. Like I'm posting something in the chat now, and here's a link where I got it from. The 49ers already sent like they did this back in April. The article talking about the rivalries jerseys, and it was just an article, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but they talk about how over the next 4 seasons, the rivalry program will bring fresh designs and energy to the NFL rivalry games. The 49ers are one of the first teams to participate, along with the rest of the NFC West and AFC East. Each team's new uniforms is rooted in the spirit and identity of its local community, capturing what makes its city and fan base truly unique. And I can't tell you guys, listen to me. Over the last year, they showed the SF logo with the rainbow colors striping through it. I'm just telling you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if it's that.
Well, isn't that for the crucial catch?
But here's the thing though, Mike.
They did it 3 different times throughout the year last year.
Mike, they just came out with their explanation of all their colors, and they named their colors too. There's like, what is it? It's Heritage Cream, Montana Red, Gold Rush Gradient, and then the black whatever. So it's gonna be like a cream color, a red color, a gold color, and a black color. And they'll interweave those. Now, there is gradient on the new logo, the color gradients on those. Zach, I don't know if you have that page to pull up, the 49ers, like their branding thing. It's on their Twitter, but like to me, maybe they keep their primary uniforms this year and roll one new jersey out each season. But again, you run the risk if you do that of having everybody be like, "Yo, these jerseys suck," and then nobody wears them. Because there have been teams that jettison their jersey. So
I can't even find it. I know they released it, but I don't see it on their Twitter.
Let's see.
I'm sending you the link right now. I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Okay.
Yep. And I hope this is what you guys are looking for anyway. It shows like the different logos and everything. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the different colors.
The schemes. It's like I keep calling it the Infinity logo because there's no border to it, right? It's like the SF just kind of in.
Yeah. Yes. So this is it. But if you go down to like the colors, they announce the colors. So they have the different. Now go back up to the SF. So here, Heritage Cream, Montana Red. See how the gold has the gradient in it? There's like a gradient to the logo. Mm-hmm. I think the red SF ultimately ends up on the helmet just by itself, but who knows? But yeah, so I think these are going to be the 4 colors that are going to be part of the rivalries.
I had y'all scared about that rainbow shit, huh? They wanted you to turn my
no, because no.
I'm talking about the chat. I'm talking about the chat.
Yeah. Oh, the chat. Hell yeah. Yeah.
It's just funny. It says local culture. Mike said, "Gay." That was his first thought. First thought. Gay.
Oh shit.
It's gonna be interesting though. I am.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, real quick, Enice, how do you know we got 8 games without Brandon Ayuk? I think he'll miss the first 4, and then he'll be back. He was out golfing the other day, so he can put like horizontal stress, like torsional stress on that knee. I think he starts on the pup, and they activate him like week 4. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
I think 8 games is a little excessive. That like I don't know that that's like factual.
He tore it pretty early on in the year. It's
week
not like
5, right? It was week 5.
Chiefs, yeah. All right, I got to wrap up, fellas.
Yes, let's get out of here,
Great show
guys.
tonight. Thank you very much, Mike. I'm sure the folks already know, but in case they don't, please let them know where to find you.
Yeah, guys, I am promoting only 2 things right now. One being the Patreon page right there at the bottom of the screen, patreon.com/NB9ERS. And then my guys, if you're watching right now on the Nothing But Niners channel, head on over to the 49ers Hive page. It's right down there underneath Zach. Make sure you guys get down there and show some support. Pocket Cheese is asking when the bye week is. We went over that. It's week 14. So hopefully we answered all your guys' questions concerning this incredibly beneficial schedule for the 49ers.
Yep.
Matt, please take us home.
Absolutely. Listen, schedule release day just goes to show that the NFL is king in American sports. Probably got more ratings or more interaction than the NBA playoffs did tonight, and that's kind of a wild thing to think about. But schedule looks nice, man, and I'm super excited for the NFL season to start. We're only a month away from OTAs and 2 months away from training camp. So really cool. Love it. Love talking with you guys, and let's hope that the 49ers can get into the season healthy and move on from there. So Zach, thank you as always for hosting. Mike, conversation is fresh as always. Love having you guys here. Love having everybody in the chat. We couldn't do it without you. So for Zach, for Mike, for myself, until next time, go Niners.